Good afternoon, everyone. It is what is it? June 14th. It is the noon time, and it is the beginning of our presentations from faculty members on trading edges and lunch and learns. So the first one that we're going to do today is a quick intro to using volume profile. I know a lot of you are very familiar with volume profile. It is Donnie's primary trading tool and trading edge, and most of us in here use it pretty extensively within our edge or as an edge itself. And this is just a presentation on the basics of volume profile, because you can get into it and you can get into the weeds. And there is always more to learn and always things to get better at. So this is volume profile. And as presented as an edge. So what is volume profile? Volume profile is a dynamic indicator that shows the relationship of volume traded to price levels. Okay, and that's different than the volume that we normally see on a standard chart. Because volume on a standard chart is shown, traditional volume is shown as volume traded in relation to time, whatever time frame you're looking at. So if you're on a 1 minute chart or a 5 minute chart or an hour chart or a daily chart, you're seeing volume traded within that time frame. The difference to volume profile is that you're seeing volume traded in relation to price. Okay, so we're finding the higher volume levels at certain price levels, and what this does is helps us get levels on our charts that are tradable, that we know could be good support or resistance levels or bounce levels based on where people are horizontally on the chart. Yes, Donnie, I am talking. Can everybody else hear me, just to be sure? Or am I just talking to myself at the moment? Jojo, you can hear me? Okay, great. So traditional volume is based on time, and it's in the lower part of the chart, and volume profile is horizontally on the chart, either on the left or the right, depending on where you place it. And it is volume traded in relation to price, not to time, which becomes a very handy tool as we go forward here. This is what volume profile looks like on a chart. I just pulled up a chart. You can see the volume profile over here on the right. You can see dotted lines for levels that have been drawn in. And the darker yellow and blue is a value area, which we will get into in just a minute. So this is what volume profile looks like on a chart, if you haven't seen that before. Most charting platforms show volume profile at different levels. The two best, in my opinion, are TC2000 and TradingView, but Thinkorswim, E-Trade, all the other ones have some form of volume profile that you can put on your charts. Okay, so one moment, please. My keyboard has seemed to turn off, which is super convenient. So how are volume profile levels created? Volume profile levels are created through accumulation and distribution within the market. Okay, so if any of you've studied volume price analysis, we get phases of accumulation and phases of distribution, where big money is either accumulating shares for a move, or they're distributing those shares after a move has happened. And so during these accumulation and distribution phases, we get value areas that are created. And these areas, as you can see by this crude drawing here, these are areas where people have found value in the price. So a lot of times, if you play a TTM Squeeze type of play during these accumulation and distribution phases, this is where you're going to see your TTM squeezes, and also these value areas that are created if you are someone who trades chart patterns. That's essentially what you're looking at, depending on your time frame. This is an accumulation or distribution, and this is where these chart patterns are created, and then they break one way or the other. So it's just a consolidation in price, and that's what creates these value areas. So we call them value areas or VP nodes. Okay. And within each value area and VP node, you have some resistance, some support, and then you have a point of the largest volume, or where most of the people are. So your value area high is going to represent your resistance point within that value area. Your value area low is your support level within that value area. And then we call it a POC, but it's a point of control. And that's the area where most people within that VP node are. And that's a very key level to play over under on. So if you're above that level, you're looking for a potential long into resistance and or a break of that resistance, that value area high. Or if you're below that, you're looking to play that off of for a short down into the support level or break of that level. And so what does that look like in on the chart? So as we discussed earlier, the value area is created in volume that is horizontal on your chart, because it is in relation to price. And so a typical value area will look like this. You'll have your value area high, where you're going to see some resistance if price is moving up into that. Then you're going to have your value area low. If price is moving down into that, you can expect some support there, unless we're moving quickly or we're breaking that area. And then you have your largest bar within that range, which is your point of control, which means at this price, most people are in this area. So as I was talking earlier, if you're playing off of that area, that will also create a bounce point. If you're above it, it will create some support. If you're below it, it'll create some resistance. And as you break through that, it can give you an indication of, we are now trading above these people. So this is probably a better long up into the resistance area. Or if if we're trading below these people, this is probably a better short down into the support area. And this works on all time frames. It doesn't have to be a specific time frame chart. You can find these value areas within a 1 minute chart and within a weekly chart. And so as you start to, this is just a single value area or VP node. When you start to look at your charts, you'll realize that there are many value areas, VP nodes, and the price will move in between those. And you can use those value areas to start setting up support and resistance or bounce points where a lot of people are, and how the price may or may not be affected by those areas. So if you see here, this would just be the right side or the left side of your chart. Obviously, there's no price going on in this particular example here. It just shows the two stacked value areas. But if you can imagine these value areas in this accumulation and distribution, you have the one lower value area here in this section here, and the other one is up here, and in between is an area of very little volume, and you can see in this example we have our resistance level within our lower value area, and as the price breaks and it retests it, it goes pretty quickly to the next value area, and that value area low actually will act as resistance sometimes between two value areas, where it will reject and then potentially try to reclaim. So you can see that there, excuse me, in these multiple value areas. So when we're looking at this, how do we try to trade this? What information does this give us on an actual live chart that will allow us to make trades and take shots? So what does this look like on an actual chart? So if we jump over here to the charts, this is a 65-minute chart on Amazon. And as you can see, I'm going to get rid of my lines here. As you can see, we have a lot of volume profile over here on the right. And you can see all the price action that's happened in here. And within these nodes, as you can see, here is one very large node or value area. And so if we come in here and we mark the low there roughly, and we come in here and we mark the high roughly, and we kind of come back, we can see within the 65-minute chart between these two red lines, we have a lot of price action playing within that area. We've moved up into that area here at roughly 136, right? And the further we come out, we can actually tighten this up, I could say, because now we're looking at the volume profile is dynamic. And so it's going to show me the volume profile levels for whatever portion of the chart I'm looking at. So this chart goes all the way out to late June of 2020. So it's going to give me all of the volume profile information from that point forward. Do I think that all of this volume information is relevant at the moment? No, because we're trading down here, and it's not relevant at the moment. But this gives us a good view if we are coming up into that, where our value area low is. You can see that value area low that we drew on the chart. It has acted as support multiple times, right? So you see it, and I didn't draw it based on what the chart was telling me. I drew it based on what the volume profile levels were, right? So there's one. Whoops, there's two. Right, there's three. So you can see this is a pretty powerful tool. I didn't draw that based on the chart. I drew that based on the volume profile, right? So and again, if we have the highs here as we go way back out, based on that volume profile levels, this VP node that we're drawing, we can see it's also tested. Wow, I gotta learn to use my tools a little bit better. It's tested these highs as well, right? And within this node that we're talking about right now, we're going to have a point of control where most people are. And this one isn't quite as clear because there's two pretty large lines sticking out, as you can see, But I'm going to take the one that is the longest. Okay, so let's mark this one and let's make it, normally it's red. So but so it stands out, let's make it yellow in this case. So this is where most people are within this volume profile node. And you can see this point of control has acted as support and resistance within this larger node. More than anything, you can see some pretty clear places where it has shown support, right? So we're trading above that level, right? And now it's just support, right? Support. And I didn't draw that line again based on what I saw on the chart in terms of, where the price action was being played. I just drew it based on the bottom portion of this line that was drawn on the chart for me by the volume profile indicator. So when we're above this, when we're in this section between the value area high and the point of control, you can use this point of control as a support level and an indicator that it's potentially a long. If we're trading below it, you can see again, there's less indicators where you can use it as resistance, but you can see right here, you can use it as resistance, right? Right there, right there. Now, back this far, that wasn't necessarily the point of control because this is dynamic and it has been being made over time. But it kind of gives us levels right out of the gate that we can look at ahead of time and know where we're going to possibly see support and resistance levels and what the trade is based on, what the smartest trade is based on what we see. So this is a 65-minute chart. But we can also drill all the way down to a 1-minute chart. So as you can see, Amazon right now is, everything right now is not in a great state. We are teetering on the edge of a recession. The Fed has needs to raise rates. How much are they going to raise rates? We don't know. The market's in a bit of a panic. But when we're down here on a 1-minute chart, you can see this was Thursday, this was Friday's price action, and this is, this was Thursday, Friday, Monday, and then today. So if I come in here and draw some session breaks like that, if we look over here on the right-hand side, we can draw our value areas. So let's look at Friday. If we just draw in the low and the high to Friday, you can see on the right, we have a node, right? Because we had a gap down. And this is where you start to see these really clear nodes is you get a gap down and then consolidation in price action, which is what has happened here over the last day and a half, right? These yellow lines are our value areas. These are our nodes. We should see some, if we're trading down here, let's look at the node we're in currently. Okay, we are consolidating sideways. We are creating, and you see what I did with the chart. I moved the chart so we're just seeing price action from yesterday and today since the gap down. Okay, so you can see this is our value area right here. And where is our very clear point of control? It's right here. Oops. I got to learn how to color the lines correctly. Got to go back to my 4th grade drawing. This is our point of control. And since we're below it, I'm going to draw that point of control on the top end of that bar. Okay, because we're trading below our point of control, I want to use the whole point of control price level as my resistance level. You can see here it kind of somewhat bounced off that level, and volume profile is an art form. It's not an exact science. So these areas sometimes will tick to the actual penny. Other times it'll float through for a minute and then still reject off of that general level. And in our case, you can see if we were to come in here and draw, another line there below this big bar, we really have three big bars that kind of create a new, or a smaller value area. And it did reject within that area. So, but for our purposes, we'll just go, we'll just put our line there. Now, if you're playing within the last 2 days in this consolidation, this to me, because we're trading below the point of control, is a short, or is a better short, because there's not a lot of levels down here in which to play on. Now we're consolidating, going sideways. It's OPEX weeks. Fed's gonna make announcements tomorrow. At the moment, I'm not making a trade one way or the other. I think we're going to consolidate sideways for the day. But if we got some buying coming in and we pushed up and begun, let's see here, highlighter, brush, maybe brush. If we broke up above that level and retested it and went again, we would see, or potentially see, some resistance at this value area high. But as most of you know, when you break into a gap, if you've got strong buying, you're going to move pretty well to close that gap. And that's what happens when you get these value areas that have gaps and splits, is the price is going to move through that area. If there's enough buying, it's going to see that value area low of the next node above, right? This is our next node above. And it's probably going to see a little bit of a reject. And if it's strong, it's going to push up into that area. But that next value area low is going to act as resistance. And so being able to chart all of these on your chart prior to taking a trade, you can find levels in which you think there's going to be some good support and resistance. So if we were playing, Amazon, let's say long for a bounce tomorrow, what's the next level where we're really going to see a potential rejection? If the FOMC comes out tomorrow and the market likes it, and we start to see some pretty heavy buying, right? If we already have our lines drawn on the chart, we're going to have our value area high and our value area low for this node. And then we're going to have our value area low and our value area high. I would almost say there's two levels here. And then this area up in here. But what I'm looking for is, where are we going to see, if we get buying tomorrow, where are we going to see the first real spot where we're going to see a rejection in price? And from the chart that I'm looking at now, I would say that we're going to see that at about 110.04, because that's where this level sits, as you can see in yellow here. So let's remove this. Let's remove this. So can you see that point of control level in this value area up here. So we should see some resistance at the top end of our current value area, but it will most likely, if we have strong buying, it will most likely push through. So let's say the FOMC was coming out right now. Here's our point of control here. What will most likely happen, right? If things were supposed to work the way we hope they would, and we planned our trade, we're going to get a push up through. We're actually going to get a retest. Could be quick. Could be a little bit. Could take a little longer. If we still have buying, we should get a reject quickly of our value area high here at about 106.40, 106.45. And if it's still strong, we're going to push through and most likely see our first major rejection spot at 109.97, 110. Let's just say 110. Okay. And so if the buying on the Qs is starting to come out and we're coming into that level on Amazon, that's a good spot to expect a rejection and a rejection at the very least down to the value area low there. So that's how we can plan trades that way. You can plan trades like, well, let's look at Oxy on a daily chart. There are so many. Oh, no. Hold on a second. I removed the wrong thing. Let's look at remove drawings. You can also find these levels on the daily chart, but as you do, you need to zoom in and make sure they're still valid levels. So if you see on this daily chart of Oxy, if Oxy was selling off from its current price of 63.78, I could come in and find a value, a point of control level where we might see this is the largest amount of people. And where are those people from? Did those people come in up here? No, those people came in during this phase right here, right? So if those people are long through this and it starts to come back in, they're going to start buying or adding to their price because they're in the money here. So the chance that we're going to get a bounce off that level, at least temporarily, is pretty high. So that would be a good entry level if you were looking to play Oxy long. And then as you start to drill down, let's look at a 30-minute. Now, if I'm looking at this 30-minute and I'm waiting for my volume profile to come in, don't know why it's not coming in at the moment. There it is. And I see this yellow line that I drew just a minute ago. Can you see that on the chart? Well, I can't either because we haven't zoomed out far enough to be able to see those people that we were just talking about. So now we come out and we see this phase here. And now we can see, okay, yeah, that is a pretty major level. So you have to be able to look back on your charts to where you're going to see accumulation and distribution to find those levels to play off of here in the future. And you can see now that this line has been drawn, if we take those guys out, that line, that level isn't there, other than the fact that I've drawn it on the chart. And you can see a little bit of support that's happened here. Only till you come back and look at those people. And on this chart, are these people still valid for Oxy's price? Will they still create will they still play into how Oxy is going to react? Yeah, of course, they're close enough. And people have played off of this, hopefully up into this move, and they are going to act as support as we come back down. Now, if you're looking at something way out, months and months and months out, they might not be as effective in terms of creating an actual support and resistance level as somebody that's a little bit closer and in a clear accumulation and distribution phase. So that's pretty much it for volume profile. It is an art form, not an exact science. Most people in this room trade using volume profile. Either they are trading off of volume profile specifically. I do that more in a day trading capacity. Excuse me. But I also put that into play when I'm looking at my primary way of trading my key edge, which we'll do a presentation on next week, is the TTM Squeeze. And as you can see here, if we go to a replay, let's just go back to, I don't know, this candle here. This is a pretty perfect TTM Squeeze pattern that I'll talk about next week. But this volume profile here on the right helped when I was trading this. It helped create levels in which during this accumulation and distribution phase, before it went again, areas I could take chances off that would act as support, because in my thesis on this TTM, this was going higher. This was consolidating and it was going to move higher. And I just wanted to take entries at key spots so that I could create a position to capture the move that ultimately went higher. This is APA, right? So we got our move. But I was able to position off of volume profile levels within my my TTM Squeeze edge. So that is intro to volume profile. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. If you have any questions and want to jump on the mic, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, I will jump off and let everyone continue with their day. No questions? All right. Have a great day, everyone. Remember, it's OpX week and it's going to be choppy. So be careful out there. And FOMC tomorrow is not going to be, it's going to be some volatility. So be ready for it. All right. Take care.